start. So welcome everybody. So we're going to work with some of the dharanas, so the spiritual practices that are laid down in these sutras. So the Radiant Sutras, which is a modern title of a very ancient book, which is called the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, which comes from Kashmir. So I've got two translations. One's Insight into Reality, which is more of an academic one, which is actually by Swami Nishchalananda Saraswati, who's based in Wales, and he runs the Mandala Ashram. And this one, which is the very modern one, which is really beautiful, it's very poetic. And this is by a guy called Lauren Roche, who's based in America. And so we're going to look at some of the practices from here. We're just going to look at 4 of the sutras. So this particular text is really ancient, so it would have been an oral teaching before language was written, so it's thousands of years old. And it's a dialogue between Shiva and Shakti, so the masculine and the feminine aspects of our reality, that which makes up the universe. And it's essentially it's a spiritual teaching that is an embodied teaching, so which means that it's an embodied philosophy. So we can do particular practices that have been laid down in the text to embody the understanding of the philosophy. So it's a really beautiful text, and the practices are really simple. They're based around the energy body and the breath and experiencing life. Some of the practices are give you ways to walk in nature. So it's just a really beautiful book. And this one, which is the more classical book, I would call it more of a classical book, has a practice for every single dharana. So does this one, but I prefer actually this one for the practices, and I prefer this one for the language that's used. It's more poetic. Some of the practices you may well be familiar with. You certainly may be familiar with the type of poetry within it. So we're going to start by just becoming aware of the body. So take a nice deep breath in and have a sigh out. And again, deep breath in and a sigh out. Once more. Lovely. Now let's just release a little bit of tension from the body. So take a twist to the right and hold, just breathing into it. Lovely. Change directions. Lovely, back to centre. And then just manoeuvring the spine forwards and back with the breath. So as you inhale, let the chest lift forwards and up, and as you exhale, chin to chest and draw the navel in. Just freeing up the spinal column and the muscles of the back. gently. Now come to a nice upright position. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about a particular Sanskrit word, because the texts actually use our awareness of the energetic body throughout a lot of the practices, because it's an energy-based text. So the name for the energy body in Sanskrit is the Dwadashanta, the Dwadashanta. And when you break the Sanskrit word down, Dwadasha means 12, so it's the word for 12, and Anta means the limit or the extremity of. And if you were looking at that word in terms of relation to a practice within meditation and awareness of consciousness, it literally means no more than the distance of 12 fingers width. So in order to find your energy body, which is further out from you, and it's kind of all around you, we do this practice which uses a mudra, and it's called the Bhuchari mudra. And Bu is earth, and this is the earth moving gesture. So we're just going to practice this first, so you understand what it is when I ask you to practice it in the sequence. And then we will we'll go into the sequence, and I'll add in some of the texts. So the Dwadashanta, the energy body, is 12 fingers width distance all around us. If you take one hand and let the thumb point out, and you put that thumb kind of on the nose, so it doesn't have to be at a huge angle, it can be about there. And then you get the next hand and you put it so that the thumb touches the little finger of the first hand, and then lift the little finger slightly so you can see it. And that's 12, that's the distance, that's how it's measured. So this area here, where the little finger is where the energy body is, all around us. So it's not just that space in front of us, but we're starting to locate it. So this is a really simple practice, but it's very powerful. So bring the hands up, and keeping your eyes open, I want you to just stare very gently, so it's like a soft open gaze, at this finger, the fingertip of the little finger on the outermost part of the mudra, and just breathe. So it's a soft open gaze, and we're developing our awareness of the Dwadashanta by using this mudra, the Bhuchari mudra, the earth moving gesture. So remember, the Dwadashanta is the Sanskrit word for the energy body. And when we use this mudra, it really opens our awareness to our energy field. So we're just going to continue to stare very gently at that point where the extremity of that little finger is. And then I want you to keep that soft open gaze. So you're looking to that point in front of you, and bring the hands down. So you're still looking at that point, but you're not allowing anything else to come into focus. It's a little bit blurry. And when you lose that distance, bring the hand back up. And maybe lower the hand again. Just keep the gaze softly open, and be aware of that sense of your energy body is 12 fingers widths, so the Dwadash Danta, all the way around you. And then maybe just close the eyes, see if you can still sense it. Be aware of projecting your awareness outwards to that kind of a bubble of energy all the way around you that's about 12 fingers width all the way around. So I'm going to ask you to bring that awareness to that part of the energy field as we move into the practice. So keep the eyes closed for now and just simply become aware of the breath. Just observing the breath. And as you observe the breath, so just simple observation of the breath, so I'm going to read you both versions of the text. So the more classical one, and this refers to this just becoming aware of the breath. And it's called the coming and going of the breath. Keep the eyes closed. And it says, "O beloved, insight may arise between the two breaths. Be aware of the point from where the breath comes in and the point into which the breath goes out." So that's a very kind of direct translation. And then there's another one. "The one who is intimate to all beings replies," so this is Shiva consciousness, "Beloved," so Shiva is the masculine aspect of ourself, is now talking to the feminine aspect, "Your questions require the answers that come through direct experience." And that's what we're learning here, is to have direct experience of these teachings. "The way of experience begins with a breath, such as the breath that you are breathing now. Awakening into luminous reality may dawn in the momentary throb between any two breaths. Exhaling breath is released and flows out. Then there is a pulse as it turns to flow in. And in that turn, you are empty. Enter the emptiness as the source of all life. Inhaling, breath flows in, filling, nourishing, just as it turns to flow out. And there is a flash of pure joy as life is renewed. So just continue, and I'll just give you a very simple instruction. So this is known as a dharana, or a practice that embodies the text. So I want you to become aware of the point. So let's use the tip of the nose as the point where the breath starts to come in from. And then find a point within you in the lungs. So it may be sort of around near the breastbone, maybe it's your awareness is a little bit lower down. And there's a point at which the breath travels back out. So just observing that. So we're just focusing on a physical point, tip of the nose for the inhalation, and then finding a physical point within your own body where you can sense the exhalation starts to come from. So we'll just move a little bit deeper into the practice. So these 2 points can also be translated as space. So be aware of the space beyond the physical body. So we're not focusing on the nose now, we're just sensing the space beyond us and breathe in from the space. So there's a sense of expansion going on now because our awareness is moving beyond the body. And then find the space within you. So it's not a point, there's just a space within the lungs that you breathe out from. Now become aware of that distance, the Dwada Shanta. So if you need to reuse the mudra to measure, just quickly bring it up, keep the breath going, focus on the finger. Be aware of the breath moving from this point where the bioplasmic body or the energy field is. And you're bringing the energy, the prana, from that space which is beyond you into the internal physical field and bringing it back out. So I get that sense of it moving from almost beyond the bioplasmic field, which is another name for the energy body. It's more of a scientific name for it because it's been proven that we have a bioplasmic field. And then drop the hands. See if you can do the practice with the eyes very slightly open. A sense of pulling in from beyond that point into your own space inside the body and then back out. And if you prefer to feel that space with the eyes closed, then you can close the eyes as well. And as you continue to bring the breath in from the space beyond this 12 fingers width, so it's just slightly beyond the energy body, you're bringing it in and out. Just feel that sense of expansion as we start to sense that we are more than just the physical body. So this is the purpose of these practices, is to embody the understanding that we are all energy. And just continue with that awareness. So the second dharana, or the second teaching, is very simply, in the more traditional text, be aware as the breath turns from out to in, and again as the breath turns from in to out. And then in the more poetic translation, the life essence carries on its play through the pulsing rhythm of outward and inward movement. So just be aware of that movement of outward and inward from this distance of 12 fingers widths. Remember, this is called the Dwadashanta, the energy field. This is the ceaseless throb, the rhythm of life, terrifying in its eternity and exquisite in its constancy. The inhalation, the return movement of breath, sustains life. And the outgoing breath purifies life. So feel that sense of you've got the outgoing breath from that space within you, clearing energy back out beyond the 12 fingers width. And if you lose that mental connection, bring the hands back up, just sort of reset the system. And then the inhalation is the life-sustaining force that keeps this physical vehicle animated. These are the two poles between which respiration goes on unceasingly. Between them is every delight that you could desire. Even when the senses are turned outward, your attention on the external world. Attend also to the inner throb, the pulsing of the creative impulse within you. So a much more poetic translation than the original one. But it gives you a real sense of this energy that we are. Almost like a pendulum of this energy flowing in and flowing out. It's just constantly moving. And then we start to add in another point of awareness. So we're just building a deeper awareness into the energy field. And this awareness is the spontaneous breath suspension, which we know as kumbhaka in pranayama, where at the top of the inhalation, there's a pause where we're holding the breath in the body and we're feeling that energy, that life-sustaining energy, and we're just enjoying it. And then there's the exhale. So it goes out beyond the energetic field again. And then we hold our awareness out there beyond us. And the breath is held out. And then we draw it back in again. So remember, if you lose that perception of the field, bring the hands back up into the Buchari Mudra. And then let the hands drop again. And start to really be aware of the pause. So as you breathe in from that space beyond you to the space within you, that space is filled with the energy, the life-sustaining energy. And then you hold that life-sustaining energy within you. And it's just paused, it's held. There's no rush to empty it. And when you're ready, feel that sense of releasing, cleansing as it goes out beyond the bioplasmic field. And then bring it back in. And as you continue that awareness, I'll read you the two translations. First one, from the more traditional translation. Be aware of the inner space, where the in-breath fuses with the out-breath. This can transform into Kiwali Kumbhaka, where there are no thought patterns. So when our breath is held in, and we're not moving the breath in any way, it's not coming in and it's not going out, the mind becomes very still. Here, there seems to be no energy, and yet it is a source of energy. And the more poetic version. So as you feel that sense of bringing in that life force energy from beyond the Dwadishanta, from beyond the bioplasmic body, coming in and then going out. Enter these turning points where the rhythms of life transform into each other. Breath flows in, filling, filling. In this moment, drink eternity. Breath flows out, emptying, emptying, offering itself to infinity. So that space beyond the bioplasmic body. Cherishing these moments, mind dissolves into heart. Heart dissolves into space. Body becomes a vibrating field, pulsating between fullness and emptiness. So our physical existence is one of duality, but at the same time we can have unity within the duality. So we can feel both at the same time. We can feel a sense of expansion and contraction, a sense of fullness and emptiness. So these breaths it's a continuous flow. It's not an inhale which is separate to the exhale. It's a continuum. And if you imagine the breath is very much like the Taoist symbol, so just continue as I talk. It's really like the Taoist symbol, the yin-yang symbol, which is actually the name for the yin-yang symbol is the Tai Jitu. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it symbolizes how the universe organizes itself out of primary chaos of material energy. So the universe could be seen as Shiva, and then that primary chaos of energy is Shakti, which is the feminine aspect, and how it organizes itself into flows of dynamic and passive energy, or masculine and feminine energy. So you've got the black part of the yin-yang symbol, and then you've got the white aspect, and they flow into each other. But you know that within each of them there's also that little circle. So within the white there's a tiny black circle, which signifies the masculine and the feminine. And then in the black there's a white, which symbolizes the feminine and the masculine. And it's the same with the breath. So really experience that movement of breath coming in to you from beyond the bioplasmic body, the energy field. And as it fills into the body, there's this moment where you can feel the exhalation, even though the breath is still coming in. It's readying itself to become the exhalation. And then as you exhale, the exhale's starting to ready itself to come back in. So there's no end. It's just a continual flow. So feel those turning points and feel the pauses. So it's like a natural pause, very like Savitri Pranayama. So we're not actually counting the pause, we're just experiencing that building before it moves back out, clearing the energy field with the exhalation, purifying the physical body and the energy field. And then we're bringing in and moving out and feeling that sense of the energy body all around us. So not just at the front, in front of the nose, but all the way around the body, this expansion and contraction. Start to be aware of a subtle sense of experiencing yourself beyond the physical body. So we boundary ourselves because of our ego, which is the lower self, into the physical form. But actually we're much more than that, and we are much more expansive than the physical body. Now we're just going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to add in the fourth verse, where it is a controlled breath retention. So you're consciously holding the breath in and holding the breath out. So you're still getting that yin-yang type movement with the breath, but there's more of a conscious pause. So we practice the external and internal breath retention, which is called kumbhaka. This is the literal translation. To reveal, so the reason why we hold the breath in and we hold the breath out is to reveal the sublime peace that is Bhairava, consciousness, or Shiva, so the aspect of the universe within us. So as you breathe in, feel that energy coming in from beyond the energetic field into the body, and then just hold. And I want you to consciously hold it until you feel like you need to breathe out. So consciously hold it and feel that expansion. Feel the vital energy infusing every aspect of your being. And then as you exhale, feel it flow out as you're clearing out energy that no longer serves you. You're going beyond the bioplasmic body and then coming back in again. And start to add in the held out breath. So you get a held out sense of the vastness of space, like this huge dark space where we can just hold ourselves there and feel a sense of peace. And again, if you need to remeasure, just bring the mudra back up, the Buchari mudra, the earth moving gesture. And you can even keep the hands there and keep the eyes open and continue to work with the kumbhaka, so the breath retention. Eyes open or closed, whatever you prefer. And then as you continue with the retention, the conscious retention, kumbhaka, I'll read you the more poetic version from Lauren Roche's The Radiant Sutras. At the end of the exhale, breath surrenders to quietude. And for a moment you hang in the balance. So at the end of that exhalation, just hold the breath out and just hold yourself there, suspended in the fertile spaciousness that is the source of the breath. So when we hold the breath out, that's the source of the breath when it's held out. And then at the end of the inhale, filled with the song of the breath. So as you breathe in, we hold, so a conscious kumbhaka. And there is a moment when you are simply holding the tender mystery, so that the tender mysteries of consciousness, the universe itself, we're holding it inside of ourselves. And we're experiencing this energy permeating every single cell. And then it flows out again, and the breath surrenders to quietude beyond the bioplasmic field. And we just hang in the balance, suspended in fertile spaciousness, the source of the breath. Inhaling, and at the end of the inhalation, we are filled with the song of the breath. Hold it in. And we're just simply holding the tender mystery. And in these interludes, so these spaces where we hold the breath both in and out, our experience opens into exquisite vastness with no beginning and no end. Embrace this infinity without reservation. You are its vessel. So on a biological level, we go, right, I'm breathing in, so I'm breathing in oxygen. And I'm breathing out, so I'm sending out carbon dioxide. And on a physical level, oxygen gives us energy. And on a physical level, carbon dioxide is the release of all the toxins of the physical body. But we're also bringing in prana or chi, which is the life force of the entire universe. It's what sustains life. So really connect. I'll read that verse once more for you as you work with the held in breath. At the end of the exhale, breath surrenders to quietude. For a moment you hang in the balance, suspended in a fertile spaciousness that is the source of the breath. And at the end of the inhale, filled with the song of the breath, there is a moment when you are simply holding the tender mystery. In these interludes, experience opens into exquisite vastness with no beginning and no end. Embrace this infinity without reservation. You are its vessel. So the infinite source of the universe is within us. The human body is a vessel for the universe to experience itself. And we may call that consciousness. Some people might call it God. May the force be with you. Whatever your word is for it. I like the word Gus, the great universal spirit. So really feel it within you. And really connect to that distance of the body that we started with right at the beginning of the practice. So you're aware of that you are more than the physical body. You've got this energy, the bioplasmic field, where you're coming out beyond to breathe in, and then sending it out beyond that on the exhale. And we'll just do 3 more really well focused breaths with all of that awareness, with the held in breath, the held out breath, the space beyond, the space within. Just really feel it, so we're embodying this understanding in the physical form. Lovely. Now release all effort and simply rest. Rest in the stillness, the silence, and that sense of spaciousness that is beyond our physical form. Lovely. Let the hands come to the heart space. And as we keep the eyes closed, so as we take the last inhale before we close the practice, I want you to really be aware of that distance, the dwadashanta. So remember, dwadash means 12, and anta means the extremity of it. So this distance of the bioplasmic field. So breathing in. And breathing out, bringing your attention to the awareness of the heart space. And the awareness is that aspect of consciousness that is within each of us. And namaste.